Bonjour tout le monde. En tant que membre fondateur de l'OTAN, le leadership du Canada est essentiel à un moment où le monde est plus dangereux et divisé que jamais. La priorité du Canada est de s'assurer que l'OTAN demeure forte, unie et capable de répondre aux défis de sécurité d'aujourd'hui. This meeting that we had today of all NATO foreign ministers was an opportunity for Canada to reaffirm our commitment to securing the Arctic, to reaffirm our intention to meet the 2% of GDP target, to strengthen the eastern flank, and of course, to support Ukraine. In that vein, Canada stands firmly with Ukraine in the short and the long term. As you are aware, Canada has spent approximately $22 billion in multifaceted support for Ukraine. Today, I made two announcements relating to support for Ukraine. First, I announced that Canada, alongside several countries, Belgium, Luxembourg, Portugal, Slovenia, and Spain, will purchase a package of critical military capabilities under Pearl, which is the vehicle under which countries can purchase necessary supplies from the United States for Ukraine. Canada's contribution to this Pearl package is $200 million, bringing our overall contribution to over $890 million. Second, I announced that Canada is committing $35 million in security support for Ukraine through the NATO Comprehensive Assistance Package Fund. This brings Canada's contribution for the CAP, which is what it's called, to a total of $180 million. And that particular contribution is going to assist Ukraine with military resources such as fuel, medical supplies, communication services, winter gear, and more. In short, the progress today was very positive. Canada stood firmly with our allies here at NATO and, in particular, in support of Ukraine. And I look forward to taking your questions. Je pourrais répondre à vos questions maintenant. Merci beaucoup.
Merci, thank you. We will start with Valérie Gamache. Nous allons commencer avec Valérie Gamache. La parole est à vous.
Bonjour, Madame Anand. Vous m'entendez bien?
Oui, bien sûr.
Tout d'abord, je voulais savoir si vous avez rencontré votre homologue américain, Marco Rubio. Si c'est le cas, quelle était l'issue de la discussion? Et sinon, qu'est-ce que vous allez lui dire, puisque je crois que vous devez vous rencontrer? Quelles sont vos attentes face à cette rencontre-là?
Merci pour cette question. Le secrétaire Rubio n'était pas ici pendant leur journée aujourd'hui. Nous étions ensemble dans la salle avec d'autres ministres des Affaires étrangères. Je vais parler avec mon homologue, le secrétaire Rubio, dans la semaine prochaine. Mais en même temps, les États-Unis étaient là dans la salle avec une autre représentant et on va continuer les conversations sur l'Ukraine, sur la défense collective et aussi sur l'Arctique avec mes homologues et aussi les États-Unis. Au sujet de l'Ukraine et le processus pour le prêt en Ukraine, je voudrais ajouter que le Canada est ici pour appuyer pas seulement le processus pour le paix, mais aussi pour l'Ukraine dans le processus. Les décisions nécessaires sur le paix et aussi pour l'Ukraine et la souveraineté de l'Ukraine sont très importants. Et la chose plus important pour le Canada est d'être là pour appuyer l'Ukraine dans le court et le long terme. Et l'Ukraine doit être à table pour ces décisions-là et nous continuons d'appuyer l'Ukraine dans le processus. Je voudrais finalement dire que le ministre des Affaires étrangères de l'Ukraine était ici pendant nos rencontres à midi. Donc, nous avons discuté le processus pour le paix et aussi l'appui pour l'Ukraine, pas seulement par le Canada, mais avec tout le monde à table et l'avenir. Qu'est-ce que nous pouvons faire ensemble après le paix? Nous voulons être là pour appuyer le développement, le renouvellement de l'infrastructure et l'assistance pour les enfants ukrainiens aussi. Merci.
Et puis j'ai une question peut-être sur les avoirs russes qu'Ottawa a saisis. On a il n'y a rien en fait à ce jour-ci qui a été liquidé. Est-ce que c'est qu'on n'a pas les bases juridiques pour liquider les avoirs qui ont été saisis au fil des années?
Je m'excuse, je ne comprends pas la question. C'est difficile un petit peu pour moi de vous entendre. Est-ce que vous pouvez répéter la question?
Oui, concernant les avoirs russes qui ont été saisis il y a de ça quelques mois déjà rien n'a été liquidé encore. Est-ce qu'il y a une raison pour ça?
Oui, merci pour cette question. Je comprends, c'est une question de matériel russe, je pense. Et qu'est-ce que nous allons faire avec ces assets comme ça, n'est-ce pas? Et premièrement, nous avons eu plusieurs conversations là-dessus avec les collègues ici. Et le Canada est fort, comme vous savez, sur les questions comme ça. On est allé servant les tribunaux, par exemple, et nous avons eu dans notre budget 2025 une provision pour arrêter le dépenser de l'intérêt sur les assets ou les matériaux russes. Aussi, peut-être, je pourrais ajouter qu'il n'y aurait nulle part où se cacher pour ceux qui appuient ou profitent de la guerre brutale d'agression menée par la Russie. Et avec nos alliés aujourd'hui, nous avons discuté, nous allons continuer de s'assurer que les actions de la Russie ne restent pas impunes. Et au G7, par exemple, avec mes homologues, quand nous étions à Niagara, j'ai annoncé que le Canada impose de nouvelles sanctions contre la Russie. Et maintenant, nous avons à peu près 4000 sanctions contre la Russie. Donc, peut-être je pourrais dire aussi que il y a un processus maintenant pour le paix. Mais en même temps, on doit continuer d'avoir les étapes et les mesures qui soulignaient que les actions russes dans l'invasion en Ukraine sont complètement inacceptables, injustifiables et illégales. Et le Canada va être fort avec l'aide de 22 milliards de dollars, avec l'assistance pour les enfants ukrainiens, avec les sanctions et aussi, comme j'ai dit, avec l'appui nouveau chaque fois que nous pouvons le faire.
Merci. Next question, Dylan Robertson, Canadian Press.
Hi, Minister. Thanks for taking our questions. As you know, the European Union is charging fees to countries who are part of the SAFE agreement. The EU says that these are based on the expected benefits that each country will get. For Canada, the EU says that we need to pay roughly 10 million euros. For the UK, they're asking 6.5 billion euros. That's billions compared to the millions for us. A professor at UCAM, Justin Massey, is pointing out that Britain is paying 500 times more than Canada is. And he's saying that this should show that Canadians should temper their expectations on how much economic benefit we're actually going to get out of this deal because the starting figures are so small. I'm wondering if that's an accurate way of thinking about this.
Well, let's take a step back and understand that we are, as a country, seeking to double non US trade across sectors over the next 10 years. And that means diversifying our supply chains across the board. You have seen us put into place free trade agreements or initiate free trade negotiations with several countries, including Indonesia, the Philippines, India, and the list goes on. The work that we are doing across sectors and all over the world is to unlock billions of dollars for Canadian businesses and to ensure that we can grow our domestic economy so that we are never again 80% reliant on one particular economy. All 27 EU member states are increasing their defense investments. This is what we heard today. Everyone I spoke with was very excited to have Canadian companies be on the same footing as European companies in order to compete for procurement contracts here. Canadian manufacturers are going to have the opportunity, therefore, to build and to export Canadian made technologies and capabilities. The world wants more Canada. I hear this everywhere I go, and the SAFE agreement brings Canada into the tent in a very positive way for the domestic Canadian economy, which we will continue to support and seek to grow.
Thank you. And I'm wondering if you have any response to concerns that we're hearing from Oxfam and other aid groups about the feminist foreign policy. You've talked in the past about the benefit of having the woman, peace, and security ambassador, Jacqueline O'Neill, put into global affairs in a general capacity. I haven't found anyone so far who's agreed with that perspective. The sector seems to think that not having an ambassador for WPS means that there's no focal point. The groups are also seeking clarity on whether the FIAP still applies and whether specific initiatives like Women's Voice and Leadership are going to continue. So I guess my question is, will we be getting more clarity on what funding allocations will continue? And what do you make of the criticism over Prime Minister Carney ending the WPS ambassadorship?
I would like to, first of all, thank Jacqueline O'Neill for her work as the Ambassador for Women, Peace, and Security. I was the Minister of National Defense during much of her tenure, and she is an excellent voice for gender equality and feminism writ large. The importance of those values cannot be understated. And we want to make sure that we continue to benefit from her expertise. And that is why she has a firm executive role within the Department of Global Affairs. I spoke with Jackie O'Neill, in fact, and what she is adamant about, and I agree with her, is that we continue to make progress on issues relating to feminism, to gender equality, to the ELSI initiative, and to women in peacekeeping roles, which Canada has and will continue to play a large part in supporting and participating in. Feminism is a core value of our government, and it is an important part of our foreign policy. I outlined many of our core values in my speech to the United Nations back in September. And as a woman myself, I will continue to underscore the importance of strong women leaders throughout Global Affairs Canada and throughout the government of Canada. One of the reasons I came into politics was to ensure that I was doing my part in these endeavors. And I will continue to do that while pursuing some of the key missions of this government, which include diversifying our trade partnerships and growing a strong and deep security infrastructure in this country. These issues all come together right here at NATO, where I am today. I see around the table strong women foreign ministers. I also see around the table ministers who care deeply about the global geostrategic environment in which we all find ourselves, in which we need to cooperate in order to ensure the longevity and the sustainability of peace in Europe. And our commitment will always be to our core values, including feminism and gender equality, but also to the needs on the table for Canadians right now in terms of our economic robustness and the defense and security of our Arctic. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, Rachel from CTV. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Minister. Can you just comment on this contract from ICE to a Canadian company for these armored vehicles? Do you have any concerns given the allegations of human rights abuses ICE is facing? Are you going to be taking any measures to prevent the export of those 20 armored vehicles?
So I will say that the United States and Canada have a very strong bilateral relationship. I have a very good working relationship with Secretary Rubio, who was here for the G7 Foreign Ministers Meeting, for example. And the rule of law has a historical and deep presence in the Canada-US relationship and has for decades and decades. Even today, border issues and cooperation relating to the security of the 49th parallel have allowed deep cooperation between our countries. And I'll conclude by saying that Canada and the United States, and in particular, Secretary Rubio and I, have an open line of communication, and we will continue to correspond and communicate about multiple issues. We have not, as a government, been contacted regarding any permits for this transaction. Thank you.
Just to clarify, do you have concerns with a Canadian company sending these armored vehicles to U.S. Immigration's custom detainment officers to conduct their work? Is there something about this you're going to be following up with Rubio on?
I have been in the meeting with other foreign ministers all day without communication devices, and I have not had an opportunity to speak with any of my officials back in Ottawa, nor Secretary Rubio, as he was not here for this meeting. But I want to say that at this time, the government is not involved in the transaction. We have not received any questions or permit requests regarding this transaction. And I will continue to reiterate that Canada and the United States have a strong bilateral relationship with an open line of communication in which, if necessary, I will raise the issues with Secretary Rubio.
Thank you. That's all the time the minister had. This will conclude the press conference. Merci, c'est tout le temps que la ministre avait pour nous aujourd'hui. C'est ce qui met fin à cette conférence de presse.
Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.